Hey, how about it, race fans? Richard Allen of motorsportsreport.net, and I'm here at Smoky Mountain Speedway with Jed Emert. Jed, a long-time racer around the East Tennessee region. Jed, let's start off. The two national series have just released extensive schedules, have them over 50 races each, all over the country and all that. So, judging from that, I think you would say that at the national level, this sport seems to be doing okay. How is this sport doing at the local level?
I mean, first of all, thanks for having me. The national stuff, I think it certainly appears, at least from the outside, that it's healthy. I think internally there's a lot of problems, don't get me wrong. I think the racetracks are probably struggling more for the national stuff than anything. I got a big complaint about that. The World of Outlaws, I think, is on the right path to fix that. And then it all trickles down to us, right? Our regional stuff, the topless stuff. I feel like we're in the steel block class today, the limited late models. It's as healthy as it's been as far as quality of cars, the amount of cars. Problem is the cost is not getting any better, and I don't know how you fix that. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, to cop out, it's probably a 5, right? So it's we're okay right now, but who knows what tomorrow brings.
And you talked about, of course, the one thing, anytime you're talking about any form of racing, cost is the topic that comes up.
Sure.
What can be done by the tracks, by series, by fans, by anybody to help out the local racer?
Well, that's a great question. If I had the answer, I probably wouldn't be racing today. I'd be in a suit somewhere fixing the problem. I don't know. I mean, the tires are, again, everything's just astronomically priced. And it's not just racing, right? It's everything. It's just the way the world, my uncles and family members raced years ago, and back then they said it was expensive then, and we all wish it was what it was then. So it's all about perspective too. Don't get me wrong, it's all expensive. But I think for weekly racing, for regional racing, I think we all as racers have to remember, like, this is just an expensive hobby. Like, we all choose to do it. We're not going to make a living doing it. I think it's important to know that, and I think probably the last 8 years, there's a lot of folks that lost perspective about, well, we got to make money. We got to make more money. We got to make more money on a weekly deal. When in reality, we just got to know we're taking a loss before we get here, and that sucks. You certainly don't want to take as big of a loss, but it's like if I buy a bass boat. I know if I'm just buying a bass boat to go fishing for fun, or I buy a pontoon boat to go hang out with my buddies in the summer, I'm spending a bunch of money to go have fun. So we just got to get back to that. And I think, I'm a big proponent. I think weekly racing is needed more than ever. For the racetracks and for the racers, because the regional stuff, again, is good. Like the Topless Series is what we're going to run next year, most majority of it, if not all of it. It's great for us. It's great to be able to race for that kind of money, but in reality, we got to be willing to go race for weekly racing too. So again, I don't know that I didn't answer your question. Your question being, how do we fix it? And I don't know that. I think it comes back to the manufacturers. Getting the cost of products, from whether it's a battery like I sell or tires. I don't know that there's anything that one person can do or one group of people. I think we've all got to get together as an industry. Now, again, the problem is the people that need to lead that charge are going to be the people at the national series, and they're the ones telling us everything's great. Look how awesome it is. Look at these crowds, and they are for supers. But we got to. Those are the people that can make change and affect change. Unfortunately, they don't remember us a lot of times. Again, I don't know how to fix that, but I wish I did.
And then we talk about the national series, and of course, say this track here, Smoky Mountain's hosting a Lucas race or a World Outlaw race. Fans are going to show up to see Bobby Pierce or Jonathan Davenport, Ricky Thornton, guys like that. How do we get them to show up to watch guys on a local level when you're having a standalone show like this is today?
Yeah, so it's a couple things, right, in my opinion. And again, it is all just my opinion. First of all, in the super stuff, everybody wants to come see Bobby Pierce. Yeah, everybody wants to come see Jonathan Davenport, Jimmy Owens, Dale McDowell, people like that. But the problem is, these 2-day shows at these big racetracks, like the World of Outlaws, I think, is heading in the right direction, at least to help East Tennessee. They released their Tennessee tip-off deal. They're going to run Friday, that March Friday, whatever it is, the date. Friday at Bulls Gap, Saturday at Smoky Mountain. That's good, because it allows a different group of fans to watch, and also they're going to get to see 2 different shows. These 2-day shows are awesome for Lucas. But in reality, it kills the racetracks, because as a race fan, we just talked about how everything's expensive around the world. Everything's expensive, more expensive than it's ever been, to own a house, to buy food. These race fans with their families have to choose. They're not going to come to Smoky Mountain in 2 days, right? So they're going to choose, which day am I going to go to, Friday or Saturday? And ultimately, the racetrack may lose their tail on Friday night and then do really well on Saturday. I say all that to say the problem is these race fans have to pick and choose what they want to see. And when you have a special event everywhere in East Tennessee every week, it gets to where we just money the race fan to death. I think that's a big part of it. And again, so people have to pick and choose. That's where I think weekly racing is needed. They need a cheaper ticket. The kids get in free. But that's where, I've had the privilege to work on the racetrack side of it. It takes time, right? I think it's an important thing to promote other than Facebook. A lot of people just, because Facebook, right, we just scroll. Everybody scrolls. Death scrolls, I like to call it. You just death scroll. You don't even pay attention half the time. You can promote it like crazy and spend a bunch of money as a racetrack, but you got to put it in people's faces. You got to go to these schools. And again, it's easy for me to say because I didn't do that when I was here, because it comes down to I had a normal job, right? So it comes back to these racetracks are people that have normal jobs that are doing other things other than racing, right? So it's a hard balance because, like, I give Jesse Lowe as an example, and again, I give Jesse all his flowers because I feel like he deserves it. The Mountain View, him and the Hamptons work great together, and every time I went down there and raced this year, the crowd grew and grew and grew. It takes time, and unfortunately, a lot of times you don't have that time, So I think it's just about promoting. I think it's about promoting the Jed Emerts, not just the Jed Emerts. I mean, everybody in every class. It's about making, when they come to a weekly show, those people are important. I grew up as a kid, and it was a big deal. The Christenberries and like a David Crabtree at Smoky Mountain, the modified street class, Sonny Husky and people like that I grew up watching that were heroes. Now, they are average people. They're just like me and you. But at that point in my life and that day and age in racing, they were made to be bigger than life, even at a weekly level. And that's where we lacked. We don't have that. And again, it's not one person's fault or one group's fault. It's we as an industry have got to say, we got to fix it. Now, the problem is everybody has this theory nowadays of it's not my job. It's not my job. Well, if you want to have this job, if you want to have this racing, we've all got to come together and agree that we got to do a better job. So self-promoting, I don't do a great job of that, but promoting the series and promoting each racetrack locally and encouraging. Again, that's not to say there's not bad things that happen. Facebook's the world's worst about you can do 9 really good things and the 10th thing that's bad, everybody only hears about the 10th thing. Facebook's hurt it, but it's not the sole reason that things are the way they are.
And then the last thing, and you touched on it already, the guys in this pit area are very relatable to the fans in that they work. They're not just solely racers and all that. They have a regular job. So the average fan can relate to that, and it gives the average fan a connection there. So we need to play better on that connection.
Sure. Absolutely. And again, it's from the guys that are 65 years old still racing with us to the kids, right? I hear all the time there's kids that race late models and kids that race in these classes, and mom and daddy gave them everything. Well, if I have kids, I'm going to give my kid everything I can give, right? So, but that kid's still relatable to a kid. There's a kid in the stands that wants to be that kid. There's a guy that goes to his 9-to-5 job, 8-to-5 job, whatever it is, works his tail off every week, that can relate to a grizzly guy that's running up front, working hard on his street stock or his late model, whatever it is. There's relatable people, but the problem is the race fan don't know their faces. They might know the look of a race car, and that's great, but they don't, we don't have programs anymore that they can put a face with a name or a face with a car, face with a number. We lack all that, and that's part of we got to do a better job as an industry to get that connection back to the race fan. That way, and again, it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. Unfortunately, with this racing deal and in life, like it takes 10 years to build something and about 2 weeks to kill it. So it's got to be something where there's got to be a concerted effort to say we're all going to do this. We're all going to be better and grow the sport again.
All right, that's Jed Emert. I'm Richard Allen of motorsportsreport.net saying I'll see you at the track.